In less than 4 months, Filipinos will choose the next leaders of the country. And the stakes are high as the nation awaits directions in navigating through this overwhelming health crisis, among others.
Whatever it is I do great in my province, it will never be enough to help uplift our entire province and our people without the country being uplifted as well.
They will pitch their cause.
Being the principal sponsor of the Universal Healthcare Law, I would say that we still need to give priority to this law because this is really complete. No? It's giving access to good quality healthcare for all Filipinos.
And why they deserve your vote.
It's not about us. We will come and go. But the people's pain is perpetually there. Lalo na yung talagang kapuspalan. No? And I made the Red Cross for 53 years. I feel that pain.
Find out their plan of action for change. And as they chart the country's future, their political future is in your hands. Who are qualified? Who are worthy to serve in the 19th Congress? Watch them side by side here on CNN Philippines. Welcome to the CNN Philippines Senatorial Forum. I'm Ruth Cabal. Over the next hour, we will get to know some of our senatorial aspirants. We will be asking them questions on issues that matter most to a number of Filipinos. This is the second in the series of forums CNN Philippines is hosting in the run-up to the elections on May 9th. 64 senatorial candidates, only 12 will get elected. Last week, we had 3 re-electionists. Today, we have 1 re-electionist and 2 aspirants seeking a comeback. We will introduce them to you in alphabetical order. The 52-year-old senatorial aspirant is running under the Nationalist People's Coalition, or NPC. He graduated from De La Salle University with a bachelor's degree in political science. He authored the Batas Kasambahay, Child Safety in Motor Vehicles Act, and Universal Healthcare Law, among others. Welcome, former Senator JV Ejercito. And another 52-year-old senatorial aspirant is running under the NPC. He finished his Master of International and Comparative Law in Georgetown Law Center in USA. He authored the Tax Exemption for Minimum Wage Earners Law and Universal Access to Quality Tertiary Education Act, among others. Welcome, Sorsogon Governor Chiz Escudero. And the 76-year-old re-electionist is running under the political party Bagong Bayan, Volunteers for a New Philippines. He finished his Bachelor of Laws in UP Diliman. He authored the amended Automated Election Law and Tourism Act of 2009, among others. We have Senator Richard Gordon, and he will be joining us in a short while. To make sure everyone is safe from COVID-19, they will be joining us via Zoom. And I would like to remind everyone that today is not a debate, as well as the next forums we will be hosting every Sunday. This program is about getting to know your aspirants better, their platforms, principles, stand on issues, to help you decide what names to choose on the ballot. We have compiled questions. Each of you will be given a time limit for each answer. When you hear the sound, it means you only have 10 seconds left and you need to wrap up your answer. We are live on free-to-air TV and on cable, as well as on Facebook at CNN Philippines. Join the conversation online using hashtag CNNPH Senatorial Forum. So, let's begin with this top-of-the-mind concern among Filipinos. The government had just carried out the no vaccination, no ride policy for public transport in Metro Manila. This bans the unvaccinated from taking public transport. A number of lawmakers and the public branded the policy as anti-poor, discriminatory, and raises constitutional concerns without an enabling law. A day after the implementation, officials apologized to the public for the confusion and clarified that unvaccinated workers can take public transport. Our first question. So, in your opinion, Will the no vaccination, no ride policy help stop the spread of COVID-19? Do you think it will do more harm than good? You have 2 minutes to answer this question. We start with Senator JV.
Well, we respect a personal choice, no, whether they would want to have a vaccine or not. But we have to think of the greater good, no, the greater welfare. So because of we are in a pandemic, we are in a health crisis situation. The government has to take the necessary steps to prevent the further spread of this COVID-19. So while it is in a crisis situation, certain rights can have to give way, no, to the greater welfare of the public. So I am in favor of the policy, but the government, particularly the DOH, has to work double time. They have to be proactive in the information campaign. They have to let people know that the benefits of the vaccine. In particular, they can use the DOH statistics, so that 85% of those that are hospitalized or are those that are unvaccinated. So I think the government has to take a more proactive information campaign so that they can convince more people to have themselves vaccinated. In fact, just last week I issued a statement proposing that the vaccines be taken to the stations, so to the railway stations and the MRT stations, so that it will be easier for those who are working, who cannot miss their effort, so that they can already have the vaccines on site. No? So I think that we have to think of the greater welfare, the public welfare.
Thank you, Senator JV. We now go to Governor Chiz. Like Senator JV, alam ko naglabas na rin kayo ng press release about this issue. So what's your take on the no vax, no ride policy?
Salamat, Ruth, Senator Dick, Manong Dick, Senator JV, sa ating mga tagapanood, magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. Pagbati mula sa lalawigan ng Sorsogon. Tutol ako, hindi ako sang-ayon dahil unconstitutional, anti-poor at discriminatory ang no vaccination, no ride policy. Ibahin natin ang pribadong sektor sa pampublikong sektor. Kung ikaw may bahay, kung ikaw may mall, kung ikaw may restaurant, pwede ka magsabi, bawal pumasok ang hindi bakunado sa aking lugar. Pero kapag ikaw ay gobyerno, kapag ikaw ay public utility, hindi ka pwede mamili ng taong bibigyan mo at aalokin mo ng serbisyo. Serbisyo man ng gobyerno yan o serbisyo ng public utility, bus, jeep o tricycle man. Labag yan sa public service law na nagsasabi that public utilities should offer their services indiscriminately to the public. It goes against the very nature of a public utility. Besides, yung mga kumakatik at kumakampi dito, sinasabi, may desisyon na raw ang Korte Suprema ng Amerika tungkol dito, kaugnay sa typhoid vaccine. Ibahin natin ang typhoid at saka polio vaccine. Ang typhoid at polio vaccine, hindi ka na magkakaroon pag ikaw ay nabakunahan. Ang COVID vaccine, pwede ka pa rin magkaroon, hindi ka lang magiging severe. So kahit na pag-isipan natin sa punto de vista ng science-based approach, bakit hindi papayagan pumasok ang hindi pa bakunado? Kung lahat naman ang nakasakay ay bakunado na. Hindi naman mapipigilan ng bakuna na mahawa yung nakabakuna na o hindi man nakabakuna. Hindi rin mapipigilan ng bakuna na manghawa ang sino man, may bakuna man, ulitin ko, o wala. Mahirap na ang buhay sa ngayon. Huwag na nating dagdagan pa at pahirapin pa. Para sa akin, hanggang EUA pa lamang ang isang bakuna o gamot, hindi yan pwedeng gawing mandatory. Magkumbinsihan tayo, imbis na magpilitan tayo.
Thank you very much to Governor Chiz. Of course, we're still waiting for Senator Richard Gordon to join us, but we will move on to the next question. We will be showing you a question from a netizen.
Magandang araw po. Sa panahon po ngayon na may COVID-19 na tayong kinakaharap, paano niyo po aamyandahan ang batas para sa mga health workers na kagaya ko? Salamat po.
So that will be the second question. We start with Governor Chiz. Yung question po ng ating netizen, paano kayo sasagot doon?
May batas kaugnay sa health workers na tinataas ang sweldo nila bago pa man nagsimula ang pandemyang ito. Sa lalawigan ng Sorsogon, pinatupad namin yan. Subalit ang batas sumasaklaw lamang sa mga permanenteng health workers at empleyado. Hindi ito sumasaklaw sa job order o contractual o mga temporary employees. Kung may batas man na gagawin, dapat isaklaw o isama ang temporary job order at contractual workers. Dahil sa totoo lang, sa punto de vista at pananaw ko, pareho lamang ang ginagawang trabaho ng contractual, ng job order at ng permanente. Dagdag pa rito, napag-iwanan na ang Pilipinas kumpara sa mga ibang bansa sa mundo pagdating sa sweldo at kompensasyon ng ating healthcare workers. Yan ang pangunahing dahilan kung bakit karamihan sa kanila, Dr. Mano Nurse, ay nangingibang bansa, nililisan ng ating bansa dahil mas maganda ang sweldo, kita at oportunidad sa mga karatig nating mga bansa at kapuluan. Nais ko, bigyan ng tamang kompensasyon, pagkilala at gayon din, kabayaran ang kanilang binibigay na sakripisyo at pagiging bayani, lalo na sa panahong ito ng pandemya. Kung ang sasabihin nila ay kulang at walang pera, hindi ako naniniwala doon. Kung may pera nga para bumili ng ilang kagamitan na hindi kailangan, may pera din dapat sila para magbigay ng pagkilala at kompensasyon sa tunay na naasahan sa panahon ng pandemya.
Governor, follow-up ko lang yung binanggit nyo doon sa hindi kasama sa law yung mga contractual. That will just be an amendment or bagong batas po yan?
Yes, ma'am. Dapat kung may babaguhin man sa batas, yun ang baguhin. Dahil halimbawa, sa lalawigan ng Sorsogon, Ruth, mahigit kumulang 9 hanggang 10,000 ang tinaas sa sweldo ng mga permanenteng nurse sa aming lalawigan bilang pagtugon sa kautusan ng national government na siyang pinatupad ng aming lalawigan. Gayon din sana ang ibang mga lalawigan.
Kay Senator JV, kasi nakita natin during the COVID-19 crisis, naging problema yung special risk allowance, yung hazard pay ng mga health workers natin. So how do you think you can help strengthen the capacity of our health workers to help our sick kababayans? You have 90 seconds, Senator JV.
Actually, Ruth, the COVID-19 exacerbated, the pandemic exacerbated the weakness of our healthcare system. And the UAC law aims to address this one. Our inadequate number of health workers employed in the country have been exhausted and to some extent have been exploited. They are our foot soldiers. So the least that we can do, siguro ako sang-ayon kay Governor Chiz, na dapat itaas natin ang kanilang kompensasyon o benefits. Agree ako, hindi naman natin kayang pantayan ng mga first world countries sa mga salaries and benefits that they offer. But the least we can do siguro yung PPEs, food allowance, transpo, things like that. Na nagkulang din ng konti ang ating gobyerno. Sang-ayon ako kay Gov. Chiz na hindi pwedeng hindi kayang magdagdag ng budget para pataasan ang benepisyo at sweldo ng ating mga healthcare workers. Kung nagawa natin ito para sa ating uniform personnel, sa ating mga pulis at mga sundalo. Ngayon po, sa labang ito, sa gerang ito, ang ating foot soldiers ay ang ating mga health workers. So, yan po ang isa sa rason na kung bakit sabi ko nga dapat ang universal healthcare law dapat lang implementasyon ng tama at maayos, bigyan ng importansya dahil yung paggarantiya ng supply ng healthcare workers, yung kanilang benepisyo at salaries ay ginagarantiyan ng universal healthcare law.
Senator Gordon is now with us. Sir, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Sir, yung question natin kanina, netizen po ang nagtanong dito, isang health worker, and he was asking kung paano daw mas-strengthen yung mga batas para mas matulungan po sila. I know, by experience kayo from your work as chair of the Philippine Red Cross, so maybe you can respond to that. You have 90 seconds, sir.
Well, dapat we should protect the healthcare worker. Yan ang primary. Kumbaga sa farmer, kailangan protection ng mga presyo sa farmer. Sa healthcare worker, kailangan protektado sila. And we try to do that. Meron tayong Magna Carta, public health lang ang pinrotect, pero yung COVID ay nasa air. So pati yung private health nurses, pag nadaanan yan, yung mga nasa emergency room tatamaan. So, ginawa ko yan, nagpasa na ako ng batas at dagdagan yung kanila sweldo, isama sila dyan. At pangalawa, dapat meron silang talaga mga break times na dapat talaga hindi ibababa doon. Dapat meron tayong mga tinatawag na bubble kung saan ilalagay yung mga nurses na nagpapahinga para hindi sila lalabas. Kasi kahit tayo ilagay mo sa hotel, natatamaan pa rin sila. Kaya even in the Red Cross, we put up a bubble, yung mga taong tinatamaan na sa amin para hindi sila makapanghawa, dinadala namin sa isang bubble para pag may tinamaan, makakapagpalit. That is just for the pandemic.
But really, the point is, ang taas-taas ang sweldo ng kapulisan, pero ang mga nurse na iwanan, ang mga healthcare workers na iwanan, kailangan dagdagan natin ang sweldo, kailangan dagdagan ng doctors, lahat kailangan dagdagan. Pero kailangan walang kurakot na tulad na nangyari sa family. Because kung hindi kinurakot si family, masasapatan natin yung mga dapat ibigay sa mga nurses at saka healthcare workers.
Thank you very much to Senator Gordon. So now, before we go on a break, here is a question answerable by yes or no. No explanations needed. You have two signboards. All you need to do is use the green one if you agree, or the red signboard if you don't. Never perhaps in the country's election history has the substitution of candidates been used as extensively as the run-up to the 2022 polls. The last-minute oath-taking and switching of party allegiance kept voters guessing who will step in and who will give way. Question: should the candidate substitution in the election law be abolished? Yes or no? Please raise your signboards. Senator Chiz, yes, iba yung signboard ni Senator Chiz kasi ang layo nasa Sorsogon nga pala siya. We all have 3 yes answers to abolish the substitution in the election law. This is a CNN Philippines special presentation. We'll get to know more about our senatorial aspirants after the break. Welcome back to a CNN Philippines special presentation. I'm Ruth Cabal. This is the second in a series of senatorial forums as we count down the months and days leading to the May 9th general election. Joining us are 3 of our senatorial aspirants: former Senator JV Ejercito, Sorsogon Governor Chiz Escudero, Senator Richard Gordon. They will respond to questions on issues that matter most to Filipinos. Again, we are not having a debate today. This forum will allow the public to know our aspirants more. Each one will answer a question, and we'll be giving you a time limit for each answer. When you hear the sound, it means you only have 10 seconds left and you need to wrap up. To our audience, feel free to join our conversation online using the hashtag CNNPH Senatorial Forum. The country faces a potential energy crisis as Malampaya is running out of natural gas. The government has projected that the Malampaya gas field, which supplies 30% of Luzon's electricity, will be completely depleted by 2027. Hence, an urgent need to have a new energy source. Last year, President Duterte issued an executive order that will look into the possible revival of the mothballed Bataan nuclear power plant. Meanwhile, presidential aspirants Leni Robredo and Bongbong Marcos are pushing for nuclear power to boost the energy sector. So here's the question. Are you in favor of reopening the Bataan nuclear power plant to have a new power source? Let's start with you, Governor Chiz.
Ano naman teknolohiya, neutral ako sa teknolohiya. Ang importante lamang, ligtas ito, kayang bayaran ng sambayan ng Pilipino, at makakatugon sa problema sa krisis sa enerhiya ng ating bansa. Kailangan ng opinyon ng eksperto kung mas maganda nga bang magtayo ng bago o i-rehabilitate pa yung nakatayong Bataan Nuclear Power Plant. Alin ba ang mas mura? Alin ba ang mas ligtas? Alin ba ang mas abot kaya para sa ating mga kababayan? Hindi natin dapat limitahan sa partikular na opinyon o diskriminasyon ang pwedeng pagkunan natin ng kuryente. Nitong nagdaang 5 taon, walang dagdag na kapasidad sa generating capacity ng bansa ang ang Pilipinas. Yan ang rason kung bakit nagkukulang na tayo ng kuryente. Pasalamat nga tayo at mahina pa ang takbo ng ating ekonomiya dahil sa pandemya. Pero sa unti-unting pagbubukas ng ekonomiya ng Pilipinas at ng mundo, sa unti-unting paggulong ng ekonomiya, darating ang panahon na mangailangan tayo ng higit pa sa kuryenteng meron tayo ngayon. Ang problema, umaabot ng 4 hanggang 5 taon mula mag-financial close bago matapos ang isang planta na magbibigay sa atin ng energy source. Kaya ngayon pa lamang, kung ang tinatayang shortage ay mangyayari sa taong 2027, tama-tama lamang, ngayon pa lamang, ang susunod na bagong Pangulo dapat tutukan ang pagkakaroon at pagpasok ng mga bagong planta upang sa gayon, bago pa man dumating ang pagkukulang ng kuryente sa ating bansa, ay meron na tayong online na pagkukunan ng panibagong source para may sapat tayong pagkukunan ng kuryente. Alalahanin din natin, pagkulang ang supply, palaging tataas ang preso, ika nga base sa law of supply and demand. Kaya ngayon pa lang, dapat tutukan na yan ng kasalukuyang, lalo na ng papasok na bagong administrasyon. Magandang gabi pala, Manong Dick, Senator Dick. Magandang gabi, hindi ko ba kayo nababati?
Okay, we have Senator Gordon next. This project po cost the government over $2 billion and it was not commissioned mostly due to safety concerns. Are you in favor of reopening the Bataan nuclear power plant to generate a new energy source? You have 2 minutes to answer, Senator Gordon.
Kapag tingnan natin ang cost-benefit analysis, makakabuti ba yan? Dahil kung bubuksan mo yan, andun yung makina, rehabilitate mo, I understand it will cost another 100 billion pesos. So, kung magagawa yon, fine, na makakabuti sa ating bayan. Pero sa tingin ko, we are one of the top suppliers of thermal energy. Meron tayo sa Bicol, meron tayo sa Leyte, at dapat ito, maidikit ito sa Mindanao, at yung power sources sa Mindanao, yung water, marami tayong water resources, dapat gawin yan. Yung talagang non-renewable energy, katulad ng mga wind power, katulad ng solar power, ginagawa rin naman yan doon sa ibang mga bahay na ginagawa namin sa Red Cross, may solar power, natin gawin yan. Pero pagdating sa nuclear plant, I'm in favor of it in terms of magagamit natin yan. Kung ang Taiwan, meron na silang 3, dati 6 ata ngayon. Sa China, they have 36. Bakit tayo hindi natin gawin yan? Marami tayong mga nuclear scientists, mga physicists na pwedeng gamitin yan. Pero in the meantime, nagmamadali tayo. Ayaw natin mangyari katulad doon sa Kazakhstan. Ang dami-dami nilang power sources pero binibigay nila yung LPG sa mga kotse. Tinaas sila, nagkagulo. Ngayon may instability doon. So it's a matter of prioritizing what we need to do. Dagdagan natin ang power supplies natin. At talagang dapat, umpisa pa lang talagang tinatabaan ng climate change sa mga fossil fuels. Dapat ngayon pa lang idagdag na sa mga kurso ng eskwela yan na dapat malaman ng mga bata ang responsible use of power at saka para hindi tayo matatamaan ng effects ng climate change.
Thank you very much, Senator Gordon. To Senator JV, ano po, pabor po ba kayo na buksan ulit itong Bataan Nuclear Power Plant para magkaroon tayo ng bagong power source? 2 minutes for your answer, sir.
Ruth, there are two things that is hindering our country's economic development. Napag-iwanan na tayo ng ating mga kababayan sa Asia. Dati po ay lagi tayo na sa top 5 na ASEAN. Ngayon ay naunahan na tayo ng Vietnam. Dalawang bagay po. Poor infrastructure and very high cost of electricity. And ang nuclear energy ay mababa po ang cost, halos kalahati lamang. So it's about time we reconsider. Look into it, tignan muna natin. But of course, safety is the priority. Dapat masiguro natin na kaya ba natin na i-operate ang Bataan Nuclear Power Plant. Ang twin plant po ng BNTP, yung Cory 1 sa Korea, ay kasabay niya itong ginawa. Ngayon po ay 6 po sila, tabi-tabi. Ang total po ng South Korea, I think they have more than 20 nuclear power plants. And we have seen how South Korea has developed through the years. So para sa akin po, we really have to look into it, study, and make sure that the safety concerns are addressed. But among the energy mix, the most successful in Europe, like France, for example, yung nuclear power plant as the base load and the renewable energy as the supplemental power sources. But there are also other sources, energy sources that can be considered, like the new technology, clean coal, and other base loads. Because maganda po talaga yung renewable energy, but ang problema po intermittent. We need to have base load energy for us to be able to achieve economic development. So sa akin po, we have to reconsider. Priority is safety, of course, but we have to reconsider so that we can lower the cost of electricity so that our country can now move forward and catch up with our neighbors.
Now let's move on to our next question. It's been more than 5 years since the country's historic victory against China in the South China Sea dispute. China has consistently refused to recognize the 2016 arbitral ruling. Tensions even rose when, at one instance last year, hundreds of Chinese fishing vessels were spotted in a portion of the country's exclusive economic zone. Aside from the Philippines, other countries are also in conflict with China over parts of the South China Sea. For almost 2 decades now, the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or ASEAN, has been trying to come up with a code of conduct with China in the disputed waters. Question: Should the Philippines demand that negotiations for the final code of conduct between ASEAN and China be aligned with the 2016 arbitral ruling? You have 90 seconds to answer. Let's start with Senator JV.
We have to assert our right by sending probably our US frigates, our modern military equipment, just to assert our right. We won in the arbitration in Hague, and it is also inside our constitution. We have to protect and fight for our territorial integrity at all costs. To be honest, of course, we cannot match China in terms of military might. We may have 20 new supersonic jets. They may have 500. We may have 20 new naval vessels. They will have about 300. But we can forge alliances with Australia, United States, Japan, ASEAN neighbors in trying to maintain a zone of peace and free travel in that route. And if you can see also what happened, ginawa po ng Vietnam, kahit na maliit na bansa po ang Vietnam, no, ay tumitindig po sila, no, kapag sila po ay binubuli po ng China. At nakikita naman po natin yung mga Chinese vessels also ay nire-respeto po. And I would like to also mention that our Philippine Coast Guard also a few months ago stood their ground, no, when they were confronted by Chinese vessels. Ang ginagamit po ng Coast Guard, yung mga babae po natin, sila po ang nakikipag-usap. So we have to stand our ground, fight for our territorial integrity, and for our sovereignty at all costs.
Let's now go to Senator Gordon. Sir, some ASEAN countries are actually hoping that the code of conduct will be finalized this year between ASEAN and China. Tingin niyo po ba dapat igiit natin na mabanggit man lang dyan yung 2016 arbitral ruling na pumababorbo sa Pilipinas?
Pwede natin igit na igit yan, pero sa tingin ko, merong mga client states ang China, katulad ng Cambodia, Laos, Vietnam lang ang lumalaban sa mga lugar na yan, at iba pa. China has a very big influence, kaya tagilid tayo dyan. So talagang dapat ang attitude natin, we cannot deal with China one-on-one. Yan ang gusto nila. Kailangan kasama natin ang ASEAN, kailangan kasama natin ang ibang bansa. And for security purposes, dapat talaga meron tayong alliances. The West Philippine Sea comprises part of what China claims as their only sea. There should be a Vietnamese Sea, Indonesian Sea, para sa ganon hindi lumalakas ang loob ng China na sa kanila lahat yan. So ang kailangan talaga, pag-irali natin na yung talaga makakadaan dyan yung mga barko, yung ating mga lugar, makakapag-fishing tayo, katulad ngayon, mag-i-import tayo ng isda. Ba't kailangan mag-import? Kung makakapang-isda tayo, then they are depriving us of our natural resources. So ang tingin ko, dapat ngayon pa lang, tama yung ginagawa natin na sinasabi ni Secretary Locsin that we must have alliances with Japan, which has a problem with them in the Senkaku Straits, binabangga rin ng Japan dyan, with Korea, gano'n rin sila. At gano'n rin dito sa Amerika, sa Australia, yung mga bansa dito, katulad ng Singapore, dapat magsama-sama tayo dyan because unequal treaties are the result of an equal bargaining strand. Nilalaban na ng Amerikano, nilalaban na ng Europe yung arbitral ruling, pero wala pa rin ang nangyayari because China will always insist on killing us softly. Inuunti-unti tayo. Una, pinaalis tayo.
Okay. Thank you to Senator Gordon. Now let's go to Senator Chiz. You have 90 seconds to answer. Should the Philippines demand that the 2016 arbitral ruling be incorporated in the South China Sea Code of Conduct between China and ASEAN? Sir, Governor Chiz, we can't hear you, sir. Go ahead.
Oo, dapat isulong at ilaban natin yan. Magtagumpay man tayo o hindi, tulad ng sinabi ni Senator Dick Gordon, ibang usapin yun. Pero ang importante, pinaglalaban natin. Hindi man natin kayang ipatupad ang arbitral ruling laban sa China dahil malayong mas makapangyarihan ng China kumpara sa atin. Dapat hindi pa rin natin bitiwan o pakawalan ang interes at karapatan natin sa mga karagatan at islang yan. Alalahanin natin, yung arbitral ruling ay hindi lamang laban sa interes ng China. Ito'y laban din sa interes ng ibang claimant countries. Yan ang pangunahing rason kung kaya't mahihirapan tayong kumbinsihin ng ibang ASEAN countries na isama yung arbitral ruling dahil ito'y hindi lamang laban sa China, ito'y laban din sa ilang mga bansang may claim din sa mga lugar na yon. Siyempre, paborito sa Pilipinas at nasa interes natin palagi na isulong, ipaglaban at huwag bitiwan ito. Magtagumpay man tayo o hindi sa panahong ito, sa panahong darating. ibang usapin palagi yon. Hindi rason na mahirap, na bitiwan na natin at wag nating gawin. Ika nga nila, pag gusto palagi may paraan, pag ayaw palagi may dahilan. Huwag tayo mag-isip o magbigay ng dahilan. Maghanap tayo ng paraan para magtagumpay ang Pilipinas kaugnay sa pinaglalaban nating interes sa West Philippine Sea.
Thank you to our aspirants. Linawin lang po lang natin kanina, no, yung pagsagot ni Senator Gordon, nawalan po ng, we didn't cut him off, nawalan po ng signal, okay? Anyway, we will be taking a short break, but before that, here's your question answerable by yes or no. You don't need to provide an explanation. Just need to raise the green signboard if your answer is yes, or the red signboard if your answer is no. 17-year-old Kian De Los Santos, who was killed in a drug operation, became the face of the bloody campaign for its critics. 3 police officers were convicted of murder, but the world has taken notice as well through a probe launched by the International Criminal Court. This process has been temporarily suspended. Here's your question. Do you approve of President Duterte's war on drugs? Yes or no? Okay, so we have 3 yes answers. Senator JV and Senator Gordon approve of the president's war on drugs, and Senator Chiz says no. Join the conversation online by using the hashtag CNNPH. Oh, okay, is that a clarification from Senator Gordon?
I did not get the question.
Okay.
I thought the question was, payag ba ako doon sa trial doon sa ICC? The answer is yes. Pero kung do I approve of the war on drugs? No, because
your answer is no.
Pinapatay na maliliit, hindi na huli malalaki.
Okay, we get that.
Right.
Thank you, Senator. Join the conversation online by using the hashtag CNNPH Senatorial Forum. We'll be back after this break. Welcome back to the CNN Philippines Senatorial Forum. I'm Ruth Cabal. Joining us tonight are 3 of our senatorial aspirants: former Senator JV Ejercito, Sorsogon Governor Chiz Escudero, and Senator Richard Gordon. They will respond to questions on issues that matter most to Filipinos. And on that note, we have selected questions posted by netizens on our social media platforms. Here's one of them. Well, Turalba asks, what are your plans or platforms for Filipinos living in the remote area, especially the indigenous peoples? Each of you have 2 minutes to answer. Let's start with Senator Gordon.
What are my plans for the indigenous peoples living in remote areas? Obviously, they are the most vulnerable. Dapat talaga tinupuntahan natin yan. I have a very good record sa mga AITA, sa mga indigenous tribes, not only in Subic and Zambales and Pampanga, na talagang, in fact, they have the lay of the land in Subic. Nakakaroon sila ng share dyan. Dapat pinakikinggan sila at dapat talaga inaangat rin sila without removing their culture. Napakahalaga ng kultura nila at dapat nire-respeto yan. Pero siyempre, kung magkakaroon ng banggaan dyan between developing something for progress in terms of what we define as progress nowadays, halimbawa yung mga mines, yung mga ganyan, dapat talaga mag-consultation at kung ayaw nila, wala tayong magagawa because sila nakatira doon, sila tatamaan. So, plano ko dapat massive educational effort sa mga AITAs. Certainly, ayusin ang kanilang nutrition because talagang stunted ang growth trend ng karamihan ng ating mga Pilipino, lalo na yung mga nandiyan sa malalayong lugar. At pangatlo, make sure that they have the wherewithal na makakarating sila sa kanilang mga pinuno. Dapat yung Indigenous Tribes Commission, dapat talagang kinukonsultahan at dapat may periodic report para we don't leave anybody behind. Napakahalaga yan because karamihan hindi sila makapagsalita because kulang sa edukasyon. Marunong sila ng regular education na tinuturo na values pero yung talagang to be able to explain it in a foreign language or even in a language na galing sa North, talagang mahihirapan sila. So therefore, to those who have less in life and who are farther away, the government must strive to make tremendous efforts to reach them by way of special programs to be designed every day and measurable at that. Dapat nabibilang yan.
Thank you, Senator Gordon. Senator Ejercito, let's go to you. Ano po ang plano nyo sa mga kababayan natin who may be beyond reach of government services because of distance or difficulty of access? You have 2 minutes.
Yes, Ruth, I'm a witness to that. No, I'm a rider. I ride a motorcycle. I have gone to Kalinga, Ifugao, far-flung areas like Mountain Province. And when I visited their hospitals, they said that it was the first time in 10 years that the national official has visited them. One of the largest archipelagic countries. That's why government service is really a challenge. No, the delivery is really a challenge. So I would say that we really have to improve further infrastructure and transportation. IT infra will also help, and also make sure that the delivery of services, especially the health services, educational services, will be improved in these areas. No, they are so disadvantaged already. So we really have to. The government has to exert extra effort in how to deliver these services. The devolution of powers of the local government units is, I think, a step in the right direction. Hopefully, when it gets implemented this year, that the LGUs will be more capacitated to deliver basic services to these people in the far-flung areas. No? So I hope that infrastructure, transport, and the devolution of powers to the local government will help improve the delivery of services to the disadvantaged people living in the far-flung areas.
Thank you, sir. We now go to Governor Chiz. Governor, dyan po sa probinsya nyo, sa Sorsogon, paano nakakarating yung inyong mga serbisyo sa mga malalayong lugar sa inyong constituents dyan? And do you think how this can be replicated nationwide?
Pinapagawa namin ng kalye para mas madaling mapuntahan ang bawat barangay ng aming lalawigan, all 541 except for 7 island barangays, na binigyan namin ng transportation sa pamamagitan ng sea ambulance kung sakasakaling may emergency po sila. But to answer your question earlier, meron ng pinasang batas ng Kongreso, ang IPRO, Indigenous Peoples' Rights Act, na nagbibigay pagkilala at nagagarantiya sa karapatan ng ating indigenous peoples. Dagdag pa dyan, ginagarantihan ang serbisyo at tulong na marapat nakakarating sa kanila mula sa pamahalaan. Ang problema, kulang at mali ang implementasyon ng kasalukuyan o ng mga nagdaang pang-administrasyon. Kaugnay sa mga malalayong lugar na kulang ang serbisyo. Ngayong ako ay gobernador at nakita ang kalakaran at pagtakbo ng mga lokal na pamahalaan, sisikapin kong baguhin ang allocation ng Internal Revenue Allotment para sa gayon yung mga mas mahihirap na munisipyo at lugar mabigyan ng mas malaking alokasyon dahil wala naman silang locally generated income dahil nga mahirap yung kanilang lugar. Ironically, even the national government's budget, ang pinakamalaking capital outlay, infrastructure o health man na ina-allocate ng pamahalaan para sa taong 2022, ang pinakamalaki pa rin ay nasa NCR. Pangalawa ay Calabarzon. Pangatlo ay Region 3. Hindi yan yung mas mayayamang rehiyon at lugar sa ating bansa. Hindi yan yung mas mahihirap na rehiyon na mas kailangan ng tulong, atensyon at pagtutok ng pamahalaan. Sa totoo lang, napakalaki na ng income ng mga lokal na pamahalang yan at hindi naman na kinakailangan ng dagdag pang-ira o tulong mula sa national government. Kaya nilang tumayo sa sarili nilang paa. Mas dapat bigyan ng pansin at pagtutok ang maliliit na local government unit, mahihirap na local government unit na hindi pa kayang tumayo sa sariling paa at kailangan pang akayin ng national government gamit ang budget ng pamahalaan. Ika nga ni Manong de kanina, those who have less in life should have more in law. Ang GAA ay isang batas.
Thank you, Governor Chiz. Let's go to another question posted by Benj Patalot. Ang question niya, what is your biggest contribution to reduce climate change? You have 90 seconds to answer. So let's start with Governor Chiz.
Pangunahin sa aming lalawigan ang pagtugon sa pangangailangan ng pagbabago sa ating klima. Yan ang rason kung bakit marami kaming ginawang pagbabago sa aming lalawigan para matugunan ito. Lalong-lalo na 4 hanggang 16 na bagyo ang dumadaan sa aming lalawigan. Tingin ko sa nagdaang taon ay nagtagumpay kami dahil kinaya namin ang mga unos, mga bagyo at mga kalamidad na tumama sa aming lugar matapos no ako'y maging gobernador. Sa katunayan, nakakapagbigay pa kami ng tulong sa mga karaping probinsya na binagyo dahil agad kaming nakakabangon at nakakatayo. But having said this, dapat tingnan at pag-aralan din natin at hikayatin natin ang mga ibang bansa na sumunod at hindi lamang tayo. Ang kontribusyon sa carbon emission ng mga bansa sa mundo, napakaliit ng kontribusyon ng Pilipinas. Nasa 0.03% lamang tayo ng worldwide carbon emissions. between China and the United States. Yung una at pangalawang pinakamalaking ekonomiya sa mundo. 50% ng carbon emissions ay nanggagaling sa kanilang mga bansa. Pero sila nagtutulak sa atin na gumamit ng mas mahal na pagkukunan ng kuryente, samantalang sila'y patuloy na dinudumihan ang ating mundo at ang ating atmosphere. Marapat sa ating bansa. Habang tayo naglilinis, isulong at itulak din natin ang paglilinis ng mas malalaking bansa na may mas malaking pagbabago maidudulot para sa mundo at para sa ating lahat.
We now go to Senator JV. In recent years, talagang ramdam po natin ang epekto ng climate change. We have super typhoons, yung El Nino, La Nina. For you, what do you think is your biggest contribution to cushion the impact of climate change? You have 90 seconds, sir.
Being the one who defended most of the projects of the OTR, no, specifically the railway system, modern airports, and others, I would think that the mass transit system or the railway system will help greatly reduce the pollution, especially yung isang halimbawa lang po ay yung isang bagon ng tren, hinihila po niyan ay siguro 1,000 tao ang kakasya, 500, no, pero kung yan po isasakay sa bus o sa sasakyan, napakaraming makina po ang umaandar. Kung ikukumpara doon sa nag-iisa. So I will continue, given the chance, I would continue to push for mass transit, the railway system, the North Rail, the South Rail, Mindanao Railway System, because ang tingin ko talaga isa sa pinakamalaking contributory sa ating pollution ay ang ating mga sasakyan. And siguro sa ngayon po, ngayong COVID, ngayong pandemic, ay isa pa ho yung mga plastics, no, na dapat siguro kung mag-ban yung mga single-use plastic at saka siguro yung face shield na nakadagdag din po sa environmental way. So siguro dapat po yung mga yan ay hindi na rin pahintulutan. So I would say that we have to give push for the incentives for the use of hybrid or electric cars, among others. Thank you.
Okay, let's now go to Senator Gordon. Your share in mitigating the impact of climate change. Your time starts now, sir.
Nung unang term ko, ginawa ko na magbigay ng pera doon sa National Mapping Agency at para mamap talaga yung mga critical areas na tatamaan. Because ang Red Cross, bilang chairman na matagal na, alam ko kung paano ang hampas ng panahon. Umahampas na ngayon ang maraming ocean surges sa atin. So yung mga bahay na ginawa namin, nilayo namin yung malalayo namin doon sa dalampasigan at para yung mga bahay nila, nilagay namin mga yero makakapal para hindi lilipad at hindi makakaputo ng leg, makakadisgrasya, ginawa namin yan. At hanggang ngayon, ginagawa natin yan. Talagang hirap na hirap ang mga tao, lalo na kung nasa dalampasigan. Dapat iligtas muna namin natin ang karamihan ng mga tao natin na nagpipilit sa dalampasigan na hinahampas ngayon ng malalaking anon at na malalakas na bagyo. Ilan na yan? Yolanda, ngayon itong Odette. Marami talaga mga tao na nahihirapan dahil sa cycle of disaster and poverty. Sa pangalawa, pati doon sa mga bahay na ginagawa namin, pag makakakuha kami ng solar power, nabibigyan namin sa Cebu, sa Daang Bantayan, nabigyan namin ng solar power yung mga bahay doon. At pangatlo, at tinatawag din natin ang mga ibang rainwater harvesting para hindi makakahirap. At pangapat, palagi tayo nag-i-encourage ng reforestation sapagkat nakikita ko, wala nang tubig doon sa ibabaw. Tuloy-tuloy na ang tubig sa bundok na nakalbong bundok. At bumabaksak doon sa mga lupain ng mga tao at ang nangyayari, kinakayod ng Red Cross sa payloader para makapagtanim sila. Marami tayong gagawin. Yan pa lang ang ilang nagawa natin. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Gordon. This is a CNN Philippines special presentation. You can join our conversation online by using the hashtag CNNPH Senatorial Forum. We'll be taking a break. Stay with us here on CNN Philippines. Welcome back. This is a CNN Philippines special presentation. This is the second in a series of forums where we get to know our senatorial aspirants. We are joined by three of them. We have former Senators JV Ejercito and Chiz Escudero and re-electionist Richard Gordon. They answered questions on pandemic response, issues on territorial disputes, and questions from netizens. Right now, they will be the one asking the questions to their fellow aspirants. Each of you will be given 2 minutes to answer. We will start with Senator JV dahil alphabetical order. So I have 2 names here para lang malaman natin kung sino yung unang tatanungin ni Senator JV, tapos iikot na kung sino na yung tatanong. Okay, Senator JV, your question is for Senator Richard Gordon. You have 2 minutes to answer this, Senator Gordon. Go ahead, Senator JV.
Good evening, Senator Dick.
Hi, good evening, JV. Good to see you.
Yes, when I was in the Senate, one of the things I noticed was the good working relationship we had. No, when I was there with Senator Chiz, you and everybody, we were able to pass a lot of landmark laws like Universal Healthcare Law, Free Higher Education Act, among others. So napakaganda ng ating working relationship. But it seems that because of this presidential election, we may have a divided government, so to speak. Ano sa tingin nyo ang importansya ng isang united o nagkakaisang Senado para mas lalo tayong magsulong, makatulong, no, na magkaisa ang bayan pagkatapos ng isang presidential election?
Tama yung sinabi mo, kasama rin natin si Senator Chiz ng araw na marami tayong napasang batas sa Universal Healthcare, tulungan namin kayo dyan. Marami tayong ginawang batas. No? Ang importante talaga is to maintain the independence of the Senate. Sapagkat ang Senate, elected yan ng buong bayan. 24 tayo in-elect ng buong bayan. So dapat mas independent tayo. Hindi tayo susunod sa mga dictates ng presidente, lalo na kung malakas ang dating at ginagamit pa yung mga budget para sumunod tayo. I have always maintained the independence of the Senate. Kung Senate, nagtataka yung ating mga senador, ba't ako defiant kay President Duterte, samantalang kasabay ko mayor yan? Because kung wala ang Senado, lagot tayo. Kung halimbawa, pipilitin nilang tanggalin yung pag-attend ng mga cabinet members sa mga committee meetings natin, ay ilang beses na tayo lumaban dyan. Panahon pa ni President Arroyo, panahon ni President Duterte, naglabanan natin yan. So talagang, pangalawa, dapat talaga maging two-party system na lang para hindi basag-basag ang Senado. Ano ang nangyayari kung sino bumoto sa majority sa Senate President? Yun ang magiging majority, hindi yung based on the ideology. Kaya talagang bisaklat, wala talagang national agenda. So sa tingin ko, talagang tama, kung magaling yung Senate President at ngayon magaling naman si Tito Soto, naayos siya. Pero kung magkamisan, aabot at aabot sa sitwasyon na kailangan manindigan tayo sa independence ng Senado para sa ganon, maproteksyonan natin ang bansa. Ang natin, hindi natin dapat pabayaan ang mga tao sapagkat tayo ang the more extensive ating constituency, mas malawak at marami na tayong naikutan sa buong bansa. Hindi medyo lugar lang natin ang iniintindi natin.
Thank you very much. So ngayon naman po, si Senator Richard Gordon will ask Governor Chiz.
Hi, Chiz. Hello again. Good to see you. Alam nyo, as a local chief executive, magandang ginawa mo sa Sorsogon. Natutuwa ako na nakatikim ka ng local government because doon talaga nagsisimula ang lessons natin. Anong nakita mo lessons na, lalo na sa pandemic, lalo na doon sa development natin? Halimbawa, yung tourism, natandaan mo yung wow, Sorsogon, wow, watch our whales, yung ginawa natin doon. Marami tayong magagawa dyan. Ngayon, madadala mo ngayon sa Senado. Ano madadala mo ngayon sa natutuhan mo sa local government?
Alam mo ng karanasan bilang local chief executive, tama ka Manong Dick, alam ko matagal ka na nilbihang bilang mayor ng Olongapo. Marami ako natutunan na kahit tinuro ko pa ang local government code sa UP College of Law, hindi ko nabasa sa batas pero tila pinapatupad sa ngayon. Halimbawa, kailangan palang aprubahan ng DBM ang budget ng isang probinsya at syudad. Kahit pera namin yon, ira namin yon, local sources yon, bakit kailangan aprubahan pa ng DBM? Ngayon ko yung pera galing sa national government, sige, magbigay sila ng menu. Pero kung pera namin yon, dapat magpasya ang lokal na pamahalaan kung paano gagastusin yon. Malayong mas alam ng lokal na pamahalaan kung anong kailangan at anong dapat gawin sa kanilang lokalidad kumpara sa sino mang kalihim na nakaupo lamang sa air-condition niyang kwarto sa Maynila at hindi man lang tumatayo para dungawin ang kalagayan namin sa malalayong lugar sa Maynila. Dagdag pa po dito, kaugnay ng pandemya, marami ako nakitang best practices ng iba't ibang gobernador, iba't ibang mayor sa ating bansa na sa totoo lang pwedeng kopyahin at gayahin ng DOH at IATF na kung mamarapatin lamang. Karamihan ng kanilang mga polisiya ay aplikable lamang sa Metro Manila at Calabarzon at walang kinalaman sa aming mga lugar. So sana, kung hindi rin lang namang angkop at bagay at kung pang NCR at Metro Manila lamang yon, sana bigyang laya na, tanggalin na at putulin na ang mga tanikalang tumatali sa kamay ng mga local chief executive. Dahil marami sa kanila, marami sa amin, ang maganda at malinis ang intensyon at alam ang kailangan gawin sa aming mga lugar kaysa sino man na hindi umiikot, bumababad o nakikita ang tunay na kalagayan sa bawat sulok ng ating bansa. Salamat po sa katanungan, Manong Dick.
Thank you very much. Naalala ko lang, lahat pala ng ating mga aspirants ngayon ay dating nagkaroon ng local posts. No? So we go to Senator JV, who used to also be mayor of San Juan. Governor Chiz, please ask your question to Senator JV.
Ang tanong ko kay JV ay hindi ganong seryoso. JV, nakita ko ang slogan mo, the good one. Ang pangamba ko, kami ni Manong Dick tumatakbo din. Takot kami, baka kami yung not so good one o kami yung the bad one. So kung the good one ka, meron bang the bad one o not so good one? At kung meron man, sino yun at wag sana kami ni Senator Dick?
Wala naman akong pinatatamaan doon, no? Nothing implied, Governor Chiz, no? Actually, kaya good one, kasi good performance naman tayo sa Senado, nakapagpasa tayo ng Universal Healthcare Law sa tulong po ninyo ni Senator Dick. At in my 18 years of being a public servant, Gov Chiz, siguro matagal na tayo magkaibigan, magkakilala. At alam, proud naman ako na 9 years ako nag-mayor, 3 years ako nag-congressman at 6 years ako naging senador, ay kahit kailan wala akong issue ng corruption, hindi ako nasabit o nasangkot sa anumang anomalya. Kaya yun po ang ibig sabihin ng good one, kasi good performance, good track record, good public servant.
Okay, parang ang laki ng tawa ni Governor Chiz. Nasagot kaya yung tanong nyo? Anyway.
Si Manong Dick, ang laki din ng tawa, oh.
Nasagot kaya yung tanong nyo, but we don't have time, no? So anyway, we move on para sa ating mga last few questions. We move on to the comments of our netizens. Let's start with, we compiled our comments from netizens. Ito si Pao Crizel ang unahin natin. Sabi ni Pao Crizel, wag na daw ibalik ang luma, itry natin ang bago, baka sakali may mas magandang maidudulot na pagbabago. Si Joel Ramirez naman, same sentiment on Facebook. Ang tanong niya, are there no other qualified leaders in the country anymore? Pagod na raw siya sa quote, recycled career politicians. Bumoto raw ng mga bagong leader. Si Rapido Roman naman, sabi niya, matuto po sana tayo. Reminder niya yan, sa kasaysayan, maging pamilyar sa mga naging performance nila sa mga nakaraang termino. We also go to Jerry de la Serna. Sabi niya, ano bang meron sa Senate? Sana daw magkaroon na lang ng limits ng 3 terms para maiwasan ang corruption. Dennis Maralang, sabi niya, JV Ejercito ang iboboto niya dahil karapat-dapat daw sa Senado, maraming nagawa at marami pang magagawa. And si Mike Monteva, another netizen, sabi niya, si Senator Gordon and former Senator Chiz Escudero daw deserve a seat in the next Senate. We are down to our last question. We will be giving you 90 seconds each to answer. So ito po, sana you can address the comments na rin of our netizens. So sagutin nyo rin siguro, ano nga ba ang bentahe nyo na nakapagsilbi na kayo dati bilang senador? And this time, what will be your priority legislation? So let's start with Senator JV. 90 seconds po.
During my stint in the Senate, as I mentioned, we were able to pass 2 landmark laws, Universal Healthcare Law and Department of Human Settlements. But these are all works in progress. UHC in particular is a 10-year program. So the implementation phase is very critical. No? Kailangan po mabantayan natin bilang principal sponsor ay sana po ay matutukan natin. Ang implementasyon niyan ay nakasalalay syempre sa budgeting. Kaya kung kaya marami pang dapat gawin tulad ng yung health facilities enhancement, no, which is given priority in the UHC, yung pag-establish ng heart center, lung center, kidney center in specific areas in the Philippines para hindi kinakailangan pumunta pa ng Metro Manila ay parte rin ho ng Universal Healthcare Law. Kung kaya Yan po ang isa sa rason dahil sa pandemya na-expose yung weakness o yung kahinaan ng healthcare system natin. Kung kaya diyan po ako nagpasya na ako'y tumakbo muli sa Senado para talaga tapusin po ang UHC para mas magaling pakipakinabang sa ating mga kababayan. At pangalawa ay yung pong tinutulak natin na infrastructure development, no, yung pong railway system, modern airport, sa tingin ko ito po magpapasigla ng ekonomiya ng bawat probinsya. Hindi na dapat Metro Manila, Cebu at Davao. Dapat po ang bawat probinsya ay magkaroon ng pagkakataon makapagbigay din ng trabaho at hanapbuhay sa ating mga kababayan para guminhawa at sumigla ang buhay, ang kalidad ng buhay ng ating mga kababayan.
Governor Chiz, what will be your agenda in case of a Senate comeback?
Salamat, Ruth. Bilang ama at gobernador ng lalawigan, ginampanan ko ang aking tungkulin at sinikap kong gawin lahat ng pwedeng magawa para maiangat ang kalidad ng buhay ng aming mga kababayang Sorsoganon. Subalit sa pagpasok at pagtama ng pandemya, malaki at mabigat na suliranin ang binigay nito sa ating lahat. Nalaman at nakita, na-discovery at kinilala namin na anuman ang galing talento na ibuhos namin sa aming lalawigan, may hangganan pa rin ito kung hindi aangat ang bawat lalawigan at buong Pilipinas. Yan ang rason at pangunahing dahilan kung bakit muli akong tumatakbo sa pagkamiyembro ng Senado para ialok anuman talento, galing, karanasan at pwede kong maiambag para matugunan ang mga problema ng ating bansa, hindi lamang para sa aming mga kababayan, hindi lamang para sa mga Bicolano, pero para sa bawat Pilipino dahil aangat lamang ang aming lalawigan at rehiyon kung aangat din ang bawat rehiyon at lalawigan sa ating bansa. Pangunahing tututukan ko ang pagtugon sa pandemya, pagbibigay laya at mas malaking kakayahan para sa mga lokal na pamahalaan na gaya ng sabi ko kanina, ay mas alam ang dapat at kailangan gawin sa kani-kanilang lugar. At pangatlo, pagtuon sa taunang budget na siyang magiging tulay at susi para sa muling pagbangon ng ating ekonomiya at muling pag-ikot ng ating ekonomiya para bumalik ang mga negosyong nagsara at bumalik ang mga trabahong nagkawala dahil sa pandemya. Magsisilbi po ako na boses at tagahatid ng mensahe ninyo sa Senado.
And to our re-electionist, Senator Gordon, ano po ang inyong priority legislation? You have 90 seconds.
I have 5 Fs. Focus. Focus ka sa good governance. Fast. Talagang mabilis. Dapat kailangan natin magawa kagad ang kailangan ng tao. Friendly. Walang kurakot at maintindihan ng tao. Flexible. Madali tayong kumambyo pagka may problema. And always forward-looking. Nakafocus tayo saan? Unang-una, hindi naman siguro marisila yung record natin sa Subic na ginawa natin, pati Clark, pati Mariveles report na palakas natin yung mga industrial parks. Pangalawa, dito sa pagkadikuan ng hanapbuhay, may ginawa akong rich bill. Binito nga lang ng presidente pero passed by both houses. Yung rich bill, Regional Infrastructure Investment Coordinating Hub, na kung saan ay pagsasama-samahin natin yung mga lugar katulad sa Negros Island, sa Panay Island, doon sa mga regions, para sila mismo makakapag-imbita ng investments at aayusin nila yung kanilang mga lugar para makapasok mabilis ang investments. Pangatlo, sa korupsyon, nakita naman yung record ng Blue Ribbon. Hindi ko pipresenta dyan, pero tayo palagi nilalagay ng Senado dahil may napapakulong tayo. Andyan na yung mga napakulong na galing sa immigration, 2 pinakamatataas, at pati isang pulis, at tapos nag-resign yung isang chief of police dahil sa kalokohan doon sa drugs, at pati na rin yung mga nako-contempt, at ngayon yung Farmally, marami tayong nagawa dyan. So ano gagawin natin pa? Marami pa. Gagawin natin, i-digitalize natin ang gobyerno para it will be faster, at talaga dapat humanap tayo ng paraan para more justice para yung mga pinapatay katulad ng piskal, malaman kung sino pumatay kaagad sa malalong madaling panahon para naniniwala tayo sa Gado. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Senator Gordon, and to all our senatorial aspirants who were our guests tonight. This has been a CNN Philippines special presentation, the second in a series of senatorial forums. I'm Ruth Cabal. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week with another set of senatorial aspirants. Good evening.